Welcome, sweet friends, to the channel Frugal Money Saver. My name is Emmy, my husband is Paul, and we are so happy you have joined us today. Today's video, we are going to be heading down south for a little while, and we're also going to be spending some time here in our home up north. We're just going to head south, show you the DIYs we did, what we accomplished at the little house, some of the outside work, inside work, just a little glimpse into our week there. Then we're going to head back north, and then we're going to show you how we prepped, I think, about 10 pounds of meat that someone blessed us with that they paid $2 for. Wait till you see that. And then we're going to show you how we managed to eat without going to the food store for several days once we got home. We hope this video is encouraging and helpful. We just hope it keeps you focused on living below your means throughout your frugal journey, because it is definitely possible. If we put our mind to it, we're diligent, and most of all, enjoy life while we're doing it. So the first thing we're going to do is head down south. So let's get right to it. As we started our trip down south, as we were going through North Carolina on Interstate 95, we were blessed with a double rainbow. We don't often get to see these, so it was truly magnificent. When we arrived at the little house, everything was in full bloom. It was like summertime, and we had just come from the north where it was still pretty much winter. Look at that Carolina blue sky. The first DIY we tackled was painting the guest room.
I like to use this. It's just a simple, I guess it's like a joint compound. It seals up the holes very well. Take this off. So I just need what's in the cap at this point. I have this little squeegee and I just take a little bit, just a little dab will do you. This is a plastic squeegee. You can get these at the paint stores. They're only like a quarter, maybe less. So here are some holes that are in the wall from tacks or a picture hanger. There was all kinds of decorations in this room. I took everything down, but we have to fill those holes before we paint. There's the holes. I like to just force a little bit of it in, just like that, and you smooth it out. If you need a little more, you put a little more, push it in.
We picked a color called Easter Lily. We are painting the house all the same color. This is the color we painted the living room, and we are going to continue this color throughout the house. It just gives it a cohesive feel. It makes it cozy, warm. As you can see, this room really needs to be painted. Paul is just taking his time.
Here's a neat tip. My neighbor across the street gets a newspaper delivered every day to his house. I said, they come in these red bags. I said, can you save me the red bags because we have a little dog, Dixie. It's great for cleanup, especially when you're away. Well, I also found out that you can take your roller, if you're not done painting, and wrap the roller tightly inside the bag, and it will keep the roller moist and ready to go for the next day. You don't have to purchase a new mop for the roller. So isn't that a great tip? Just use your bag. So I've been doing this room every day for a couple of hours just so we can do one wall at a time. I've just been using the same one over and over with the bag. Just a little tip.
The room is completely painted. What a difference. It is bright. It is clean. In between our projects at the house, we got to enjoy the best part of Cherry Grove, South Carolina, which is the beach. Another super inexpensive DIY I did while we were there was covered under the sink, under the bathroom sink, all the lower cabinets with fresh new contact paper. Just like painting, it is an inexpensive way to give a refresh, very little cost, big results. We also spent time outside tending the yard and the beautiful flowers. And as you can see, Dixie worked really hard at the little house as well. So we hope you enjoyed that little peek into our lives while we were down there. We got a lot of other little things done, but the main focus was getting that room completely painted. Those of you who have never seen our little house that we have down south in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, I'll link the video down below that gives you a tour of the little house. It was left to us when my parents passed. And it basically cost us, at this point, about $400 a month to maintain and keep it. And that includes everything, electric and water and our groundskeeper, because we have to have somebody constantly mowing the lawn, taxes, house insurance, and we are able to afford the $400 a month to maintain that home. So that is a blessing. And we continue to keep it and just enjoy it when we're able to get down there. Our main goal was to get that room painted. We need to rip up that shag carpeting that is there, but we want to get everything painted first. So one thing at a time. We've been home for several days. It was so cold when we got back. It was like 35 at night and 40s during the day. We were so not used to it after that week down south. You all have the most beautiful weather. You really do. And we were trying to put off food shopping because we just didn't want to run out. And we always have so much food in the home. And a dear friend of ours blessed us with something she saw in ShopRite that was on super sale. She's frugal as well, and when she saw it, she says, I have got to get one for Paul and Emmy. Now, we're going to show you what that is, and we're going to show you how Paul completely prepped this meat so that we can eat it throughout the next several months. We didn't want to prepare it all at once, so we thought this was the best frugal way to preserve the food, continue to live below our means, because this will supply a ton of meals. Let us show you what we're talking about. But first, we need some bread. This is Raya, my sourdough starter, and as you can see, there is quite a bit here. I fed her before we left, and now I just opened her up, but there was a little bit of hooch on the top, and I just stirred that in. I'm going to feed part of the starter now because I need to make a loaf of bread. We have no bread in the house. Look how much she rose since I fed her about 2 hours ago. Now that's a healthy starter. I did all my stretch and folds. Now I'm going to put the sourdough away for its bulk fermentation. And that's going to be about 2 to 3 hours. And it's got to at least double in size. It was so good waking up this morning to fresh baked bread. I did all my stretch and folds yesterday. I did my bulk rise, and then I let it cold ferment overnight. I baked it this morning. It's 10 to 7. We have a beautiful loaf of sourdough bread now. It was so great coming home and being able to have everything in the home to make some homemade bread. And yes, I'm still wearing flannel. It is so cold back here in New York. I think it's 35 this morning. How's the weather by you all? This spring has been so chilly here in New York. But on a good note, we're going to cut a slice of this and see how it turned out. Oh my goodness, she's a beauty. That looks perfect. Now on to food prep with Paul.
So when we got back from the little house, a dear friend of ours found this ham on sale for 19 cents a pound. This whole giant ham, $2.07 for this thing. It's pre-cooked, it's ready to go. What a delicious thing to have. She knows we're frugal, and she's being frugal. This is a great gift. And it's good till June 11th, so this has got a long way to go. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to cut this into steaks and individually freeze them myself. This way we can pull them out when we want. We can put them on the grill. We can cut them up, add them to soups. We got the ham out of the package, and now I'm going to slice this into a whole bunch of steaks. Basically, I'm just going to cut all the way around this piece of meat and have a nice ham steak about 1/4 inch thick, and I'm going to continue that as far as I can go. I'm also going to trim up some of the fat that you see along here, so when I serve it to our guests, they don't have to deal with it. I'm going to cut these into a bunch of steaks, and I'm going to clean up the fat, and then we're going to food saver them. Just going to turn it over, get the other side. So here's our first steak. I'm just going to clean up this fat that's around here. We don't want to have this on here, and there's no reason to do it later when you could do it now. This speeds up the process of prepping a meal in the future. Just going to clean up some of the fat that's in here carefully. So this small piece that was in the center, I'm going to make up a bag of just the small slivers of ham. This way we can just open that bag and make all kinds of soups. You could add this to a quiche, a salad, just anything. So we're gonna not waste anything. We're gonna continue cutting steaks. Well, this is all the steaks we got. These are beautiful. Look at the size of these things. So we're gonna freeze these up individually. So this is what we have left. It's got the bone sticking out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chunk this up into smaller pieces, and we're going to freeze this in a separate bag with our small pieces. This way we have steaks in some bags, small pieces in another, and we have more than enough ham.
We just tared our scale, and we are going to weigh these ham steaks now that we remove the fat and bone and see exactly how much we have here. We just weighed all our ham steaks. 5 pounds, 6.3 ounces. Wow. In a minute, I'm going to tell you how much a 8-ounce ham steak is in the store. Plus, we have all these pieces and chunks of ham, which is another 2 pounds, 8.8 ounces. This is all clean, the bone removed. So we are looking at like 8 pounds of meat almost for $2. Everything is food savored and ready for the freezer. Vacuum sealing with a food saver is a great way to preserve food. These are going to go right into the freezer. That ham and her purchasing that ham for us was frugal brilliance. That's my new thing now. It was really brilliant. We looked up what a ham steak at ShopRite costs. 8 ounces, little package ham steak. They run for $3.49 for 8 ounces. So that's basically $7 a pound. So after trimming and deboning the ham, as you saw, we got about 8 pounds. So let's figure this out. If we would have paid $3.49 for a half a pound ham steak, 8 pounds of ham steaks would have cost us about $28. We got all that ham for $2. Keep an eye out. Constantly look for those after holiday, after season items. The ham was good till June, but it must have been left over from Easter. Definitely, I'm sure a lot of them weren't sold maybe, and they put them at this ridiculously low price. Don't be afraid to buy large portions of meat and then prepare them and freeze them in portion sizes that will fit your family. You will save so much money that way. When we got home from South Carolina, it was about a 13-hour drive. So we got home and I think we had cold cereal for dinner that night. We were beat. The next day, I said, you know what? Let's see how long we could go without food shopping. We had brought some milk and some fruit back with us from South Carolina. So I looked in the freezer. I had my nonna sauce all made up. So the first night we had pasta with nonna sauce, delicious. The second night I pulled out some wings and some chicken legs and the leftover pasta, and I had frozen string beans, and we made a gourmet meal the second night. It was so good. And now I'm going to show you what we did for the third night, because I was trying to still use up what we have. And you'll notice the milk in this video is from Publix, and that's one of our favorite stores when we travel south. Let's get into the kitchen and see what we can cook up with things that we found when we got home to create a delicious, comforting, frugal meal. As I told you, we have not gone food shopping yet. We've been home 3 days, and we are still eating so well with what we have in the home. Tonight, we're going to make a crock pot creamy corn potato chowder with things from our pantry and freezer and refrigerator. First thing we're going to start with is 2 cups of corn. This was fresh corn we froze almost a year ago. It was June 6th. And look at this. I tell you, that food saver is an amazing invention. 4 cups of chicken stock. I always keep my homemade chicken stock in the freezer in 1 to 2 cup containers. We're going to use 2 slices of bacon, and you know we always have bacon in the freezer. I have 3 potatoes I am going to use up. They are definitely ready to be used, so we don't want to waste those. I've got a half an onion. I've got some baby carrots still left over, and 2 pieces of celery. Vegetables like onion, carrots, celery keep wonderfully in the refrigerator. So that's always great to have on hand for quick meals. And then we are going to need some milk, but you're going to put that in later. And of course, some spices. First thing I'm going to do is fry up our bacon. I fried the bacon, took the bacon out, and I left a little bit of the bacon grease in. And I am just going to saute these vegetables briefly in the bacon grease. Now, if this freaks you out and you don't feel comfortable cooking with bacon grease, then by all means, skip this part and just add the vegetables to the crock pot. But this will impart so much flavor to this soup. And it's really not that much. It was maybe a tablespoon in there. We have our crock pot, and I am going to add 4 cups of my stock. I added my corn. I'm going to add those yummy sauteed veggies. I did add a garlic clove to the vegetables as I was sauteing them. I forgot to show you that. Now, I did not saute the corn only because the corn is a little more fragile and I don't want the corn to become mush. I'm also adding my potatoes, and like I always tell you, please don't just keep soups and stews for winter time. All year round, great, economical, and yummy food. I am going to add a little bit of dill, but that's just personal preference. You don't have to. And I'm also going to add a little bit of cayenne, just a tad, for a little bit of a kick. I'm adding some freshly ground black pepper and just a bit of salt. I don't put salt in my chicken stock. And if you are using a canned or a carton of pre-made chicken stock, be careful of the sodium. I wouldn't add more. And now we're just going to mix this. If you notice, I didn't put the bacon in. I put the bacon back in the refrigerator. I don't like to put it in right away because it gets really mushy. So we're going to hold off on the addition of the bacon, and we're going to hold off on the addition of the milk. So I just put this on high. I'm going to cover it, and I'm going to let it cook for 4 hours. The soup has been cooking for about 4 hours on high. The potatoes are tender. Now, every crock pot is different, so you're going to keep an eye on it. I have a cup of whole milk here. I'm adding 1, 2, 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, and I'm going to just mix that together. Carefully remove the lid from your crock pot. It's hot. There's going to be a lot of steam. And then I'm going to add this right to our soup. And what this is going to do is just thicken it up and give it a really nice creaminess. It smells so delicious. I'm going to leave it on high for about 30 more minutes. And we're just going to let it cook and thicken up. It has been 30 minutes and you can see how beautifully creamy this is. So I am going to dish this up. I took the bacon we cooked earlier and that was in the refrigerator, crumbled it up. Oh goodness, look what's underneath that. Some grated Colby Jack cheese. Of course, you do not have to do this. It does add quite a bit of delicious flavor. And just a little bit, you don't need a lot. We're gonna serve this up with some biscuits. A perfect frugal comfort meal. That was completely Paul approved. I have to say, I know you all think that we add cheese to everything, but I'm sorry, cheese just makes everything taste so good. Just a little bit, not go crazy. What a comforting, delicious meal. Everything in moderation. It was really good. Now tonight we're going to have leftovers because there are a lot of them. And what I'm going to do is make some sourdough grilled cheese sandwiches to go with it. So that should be perfect too. But I know we're eventually going to have to go to the food store. So stay tuned for that. We thank you so much for sharing this time with us today. We appreciate you all so much. Our question of the day is, have you found any really good frugal food buys in your local stores lately? Tell us what they were. Tell us how you incorporated them in your meal plan. Did you find anything deep discounted or on the clearance racks that were just such a great bargain? Because I think when we post things like that, we encourage each other to look for those bargains, to take a minute and search out those clearance shelves. Check those loss leaders on the front page of your flyer and just take them, buy them, put them away for future use. So in turn, you're always prepared to make a quick meal and never pay full price for food that you eat. So again, thank you so much for sharing this time with us. We ask that you give this video a big thumbs up. It helps us so much. Please leave a comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't. We would love to have you become part of our frugal family. We ask you to be well. We ask you to be safe. And above all, we wish you blessings. Until our next video, may God greatly bless you.